Hello there. What's going on, everybody? We're going to be talking about Snowtroopers in Star Wars Legion today, but first I want to thank this week's sponsor, which is Expansive Universe, a new game coming from Rainbow Starlight. It's launching later this week, so stay tuned for more information, including a video covering more of Expansive Universe. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Snowtroopers, and this is part of a new series of videos that we'll be developing going into individual unit builds and unit possibilities, because there's been a lot of people asking for a little bit more in terms of strategy, and while most of my content revolves around news, unboxings, and battle reports, I don't do as much about strategy, so I'm trying to see if the demand for that is actually justified, and I figured what better place to start than with the Snowtroopers. Also, if you are new here, there is still time left to enter to win the giveaway for the $25 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. The winner for that should be announced a little bit later this week, so just a few days left. So make sure you go ahead and leave a comment and click that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, you're already halfway there. All right, so Snowtroopers, the second core unit for the Empire. Not super popular these days, but very, very cool unit. I absolutely love this unit. They're 48 points, not too expensive. They've got a heavy weapon, a personnel, a gear, and the grenade slot. Pretty standard core. They've got a black die for unarmed. They've got that E11 for the white die, range 1 to 3 for attack. They do have offensive surge, no defensive surge, and like most Imperials, they have the red defense die. They have 1 health, 1 courage, 4 minis in the unit. That's all pretty standard stuff, but here's the things that are going to really make them stand out. First off, they're only speed 1, so these are slow. They're incredibly slow core units. You don't have a whole lot of speed 1 units in the game. These guys are very slow. They're wearing a lot of gear. And one of the things that speed is going to influence is, well, it means that if they are moving through difficult terrain, or if they want to move over barricades or whatever, they actually suffer no penalty, unless, of course, there is something that is eventually going to increase their speed. But as of right now, they're speed 1, so they can move, into area terrain or over difficult terrain with virtually no penalty. And because when you do that, your speed gets reduced by 1 to a minimum of 1. And since they're already at their minimum speed, they're not going to suffer any penalties for that. The next thing that they've got that really makes them stand out is steady. Now, this is their moneymaker. This is the thing that makes Snowtroopers absolutely pop. Steady is a fantastic keyword, seen very, very few places outside of the Snowtroopers, and I believe Iden Versio, one of her command cards. Steady is basically, after you perform a move action, you may perform a free ranged attack action. Now, you've seen versions of this. You've seen Charge before, which is melee, which is harder to use. Steady's much easier to use. And then on really, really strong units like Darth Vader, you'll see Relentless, which gives you an attack of your choice. So that can be ranged or melee. Now, this is just a great keyword for a unit that, well, let's face it, these guys don't really want to melee very much. They want to be doing ranged attacks, even though currently, if you just look at the base unit card, well, their melee attack is better than their ranged attack because they get a black die. But generally, you're going to be giving them some extra equipment and things to make them a little bit better. So we're going to talk about some different things and some different ways that you might outfit your Snowtroopers. The first one is the extra Snowtrooper card that comes with them. If you wanted to just give them an extra miniature, it's going to cost you 12 points. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's actually a pretty good option depending on what you're running with, but it's really not mandatory because there are a lot of builds that will use a different officer. There's a whole lot of other officers that are going to come with these. You might want to add some type of astromech or some kind of comms technician. I don't really like the comms technician because I don't think there's any comms that really play synergistically into the Snowtroopers playstyle. One thing that is a decent option is the FX9 medical droid, especially if you're running a couple of Snowtrooper units. It's a pretty nice option to have. They're going to be kind of going not super far forward, so they're good for your stuff that's going to kind of stay in the back. And I like the FX9. I just do. And one reason I like the FX9 on the Snowtroopers more so than maybe on a regular Stormtrooper unit is because you're also getting an extra body on that Snowtrooper unit. And why this is really nice is that, well, the Snowtroopers cost more per mini anyway. So if you put the FX9 on a Stormtrooper unit, that's a cheaper unit. You're just getting one more hit point I mean, it also can heal, but you're also getting one more hit point on that unit. And while that's great, if you put this on a more expensive unit, it's slightly a better value. So I think, there's a little bit of advantage for putting the FX9 on here. Plus, it's just a healer. Now, it's a non-combatant, so it can't shoot, so it's not going to be able to take advantage of the shooting, but there's plenty of other things that will take advantage of the shooting. And we're going to go into that because there's going to be heavies that you may want to equip, and if somebody gets scoped, or if somebody takes out your heavy from your Snowtrooper unit, that may completely make your Snowtrooper unit totally invalid. And so the FX9 could potentially pick up your own heavy, especially if if they get you if they get you terrain scoped, which means, hey, I can only see your heavy. He's you positioned them such that now that's less of a thing now with silhouettes, but it can still happen. So what you don't want is you don't want to lose your flamethrower from your Snowtrooper, and then this is some extra potential insurance from something like that happening. But maybe the best officer for the Snowtroopers is the Imperial Officer right now. This is going to give you Inspire 1, which is awesome, and also increase. It's going to be leader, and it's going to increase your courage value by 1. So this one becomes the leader. It's going to increase your courage value by 1. So now you have a courage value of 2, and not so much about just becoming your commander. Of course, this can become your commander if your commander dies. Now you have a commander value 2, but also it's just you're less likely to be suppressed. And with a unit that's only speed 1, being suppressed is a really bad thing. So that's now. Again, the medical droid, the Imperial Officer, as well as the comms tech, and your astromech, those all come in the Imperial Specialists pack. They don't actually come in the Snowtrooper pack. So if you are a new player and you're just kind of thinking about getting into the Snowtroopers, the only personnel upgrade you're going to get is the regular Snowtrooper. So more different types of units will come out, and different types of upgrades will come out as new expansion packs come out, and that's one of the things to watch for, because while a certain unit, like the Stormtroopers, for example, may have just been kind of mediocre when they first dropped, there's been more and more upgrades that can add to them, and the same thing with the Snowtroopers. I'm sure at some point we'll actually see more trooper upgrades, and we'll see more Snowtrooper upgrades, and that'll be actually really interesting. But I think right now there's some new things that have come out that are going to make the Snowtroopers really great. Now, we talked a little bit about steady. Steady is a great keyword, especially with something like this. This is probably, first and foremost, the most popular heavy weapon to equip to your Snowtroopers, and that's the Flame Trooper. This weapon is amazing because this was, I think, among the first weapons in the game to have spray. And what spray does is it adds this weapon's dice for each mini in the defending unit. So while it's a single black die, if I'm attacking a unit of 6 troopers, I get to add 6 black dice. If I'm attacking a unit of 8 B1 battle droids, I get to add 8 black dice. Not so good against a vehicle, because maybe there's only one vehicle there, but it's a nice weapon. Also, it gives you blast, which is ignoring cover, which is great, especially now with all the suppression mechanics, and of course, generally people do try to hide behind cover or barricades and things like that, so it's just going to do a lot of good. This is just a great weapon. The big weakness for this weapon is that it is currently only range 1, and likely to continue to only be range 1, which means a couple of things. It means you can't use this against a snow speeder. Snow speeders cannot be targeted by weapons whose maximum range is 1, but it also means that you're going to have to get really close, and that's where steady really helps. Steady allows you to move twice and then still shoot, so while they are only speed 1, sometimes that speed 1 can be a little deceptive, because I can go boop boop boop, and then boop boop boop, and then measure from there. And whereas most units that are speed 2 can't move and shoot as a free action, most units, they would have to move once and then shoot. Snowtroopers can potentially still get some of the, some moderate range if the terrain allows them to survive long enough to get close enough. And this works a lot better in a world where everybody's shooting at range 3, but lately now so many weapons are range 4. That's one of the things that's really hurt the Snowtroopers, is trying to get to range 1 is pretty tricky. The other heavy weapon that comes with the Snowtroopers that is much less often taken is the T7 Ion Snowtrooper. This is just such a bad weapon currently, primarily due to the fact that it is only range 3, and primarily due to the fact that it's an exhaustible weapon, really. That's the problem with it. If it wasn't exhaustible, it would be fine. Or if it was only cyclable, it might be okay. But the fact is, you've got a weapon that's adding generally less dice than the Flamethrower, Trooper. It's still generally more expensive, and it has Impact and Ion, which, you know what, Ion can be great, Impact can sometimes be great. It really kind of depends. Now, it does look like modern times you're going to see more and more armor with the AATs and the Republic tanks showing up. More armor is likely going to be showing up in a lot of games. However, Impact 1 isn't going to be enough of a deal breaker. The Impact 1 in this case is in hopes that you can actually get that damage through to ionize a vehicle. Now, ionizing is a big deal. It makes a vehicle lose in action. It also has effects against droids. It also has effects against shields. Right? So ionize is not a terrible keyword, but for the price of this and also the fact that it's exhaustible, it just makes this one not really that enjoyable of a weapon to equip. But one of the things that I have tried with this weapon is the advantage that this has. The biggest advantage that it has, in my opinion, over the Flame Trooper is that it's got range 3. This one can shoot with the rest of the unit. So you can have everybody shooting this and also firing the T7. So if you have a full health unit, you've got your 4 for your basic unit, 1 more for your extra trooper. So you've already got 5 white dice. Now you've got a black die and adding 2 more. So now you've got 8 dice total, 1 black and 7 white. And that's not a bad range 3 shot with a unit that already has surge to hit. So that's not terrible, considering you can move around a little bit. And this brings me to one of the other uses of steady, is that one of the unique things about Snowtroopers that they can do, having steady, is they can hold a position fairly well depending on the terrain. And what I mean by that is if there's a wall here, they can hide behind the wall, jump out, shoot for free, and then with their second action, move back in. And this is great sniper defense. This is great control point defense. The only thing that can really take advantage of them that can really hurt them that way is standby. And since most standby is range 2, that used to be a really great thing. Well, a lot of standby now, since Snowtroopers have come out, has been extended to range 3. There's all the units that really want to standby usually have ways to extend that standby range to range 3, which really hurts your ability to pop out and take range 3 shots at people with impunity, because you're more likely to pop out into, a standby bubble. So that much makes it hard. And also it's harder to do that with this particular unit because you're going to be able to do it that one turn, but now your weapon's exhausted. So you have to wait a whole nother turn trying to recover, and that becomes problematic, especially if you've got suppression. Now you get to do nothing else. You don't even get to move, shoot for free, and then recover. It's just... The T7 Ion is problematic, and I don't really recommend it. Generally, anytime somebody's running Snowtroopers, they're running the Flame Trooper. But there's some new things coming out for the heavy weapon slot. Have you heard of Inferno Squad? Well, Inferno Squad is going to add some new options that can go in Snowtroopers. First off, let's talk about Gideon Hask. Gideon Hask is an absolute great option for Snowtroopers. First off, Gideon Hask is going to take the place of your leader. And also going to increase your courage by 1. So it's going to be doing what that Imperial Officer was doing, leaving you that personnel slot either for a medic or for just a cheaper Snowtrooper. Or maybe you just leave it empty and you're trying to cut down points. That's an option also. He's also has a range 3 shot, which is 2 red. Much better attack pool. Much better. I'll take that over the T7 Ion all day long because, hey, guess what? I don't even have to exhaust it to use it. He's also got 2 health, which means even if he takes a wound, he's still going to keep on ticking. And so that much is really, really cool. So Gideon Hask is going to be just a great addition to have. Now, he's not coming cheap. And so that's, at 38 points, he's going to be a little expensive. But now he's turning the Snowtroopers into a potential range 3 threat. Now, all of a sudden, steady with Gideon Hask is not a half bad deal because you can step out, shoot, and then hide back. And now you have a much better attack pool, and you can do it every turn, and you're less likely to be suppressed because you've got that higher courage. And you gain coordinate, which is also really cool. Coordinate is a really cool option, especially if you want to combo this with maybe some shore troopers or things like that. So I really like the idea of Hask going with Snowtroopers. Of course, Hask is unique, so you can only run 1 of him. So you can't run 6 Snowtroopers each with Hask. But one of the things you can do, and I'm saving the best to last, is my boy Del Miko. I think Del Miko was made to be in a Snowtrooper unit. He is range 1 through 5, also has the 2 health, because he's coming from Inferno Squad, just like Gideon Hask. He's got the 2 health. He's got 2 black die, but he's got lethal and high velocity which is amazing. He also happens to have repair too, which is really cool if you like running him with Snowtroopers. And oh, by the way, let's put an ATST next to him too, and in case that thing does get shot, he can repair that. Or, you know, like, or a tank. All kinds of really cool options here with repair, but that's not really his biggest strength. His strength here is that range and that dice pool. He's got a better dice pool than a Snowtrooper would normally have, and now he is a super awesome range 5 sniper. Absolutely love this. And this is the perfect situation to use steady to step out, shoot, and step back. Because now they can't even counter snipe you because you're going to be perfectly hidden. Love Del Miko. He's worth all 38 of those points. And I think he's really going to see, I think you're going to see a Snowtrooper show up into a lot of lists with Del Miko. I don't usually like to run snipers, but I do like the idea of running Del Miko with Snowtroopers. Now, as far as some other upgrades for gear, I do really like. I think emergency stims is a viable option if you are maybe running flame troopers. You're really trying to protect that heavy. The good thing about a flame trooper or snowtrooper unit is that it can start taking wounds and they can be effective all the way down to just having the leader and the heavy left, because you can still roll a lot of dice depending on some of your upgrades. But I really like emergency stims here to make sure that you keep that flame trooper alive, because if you're trying to play the up close and personal snowtrooper as opposed to the hide behind things snowtrooper, then stay back and kind of snipe Del Miko snowtrooper. Emergency stims can be a good option. It's more expensive now, but it can be a great option for certainly making sure that you keep that flamethrower alive, at least for one more turn. So I very much like that aspect of your equipment. But I probably would lean more towards Recon Intel. It's definitely cheap, and it makes up for one of the Snowtroopers' biggest weaknesses, and that's Scout 1, giving them an extra move. It's not a move action that they do. They're just doing a speed 1 move, so they're not going to get to shoot if you somehow deployed really close to somebody else. But it gets them into a better position, and you don't knock everything over, buddy. All right. But yeah, so Recon Intel is great for that. For grenades, I always 10 times out of 10 will go with fragmentation grenades. They're just amazing. I know there's. Can you please stop trying to knock over everything? Thank you, buddy. All right, so we got people playing right behind me, about to knock over my green screen. So, but we're not going to cut that out. We're going to leave it in because my son's throwing fragmentation grenades at me. But no, I think fragmentation grenades is by far the best way to go. It's surge to crit. And reason why, I get that they already have surge to hit, but because you want to get in at least with a flame trooper unit, right? Because now, not only do I have surge to now we can stop dodges, which is good against things like tauntauns or whatever. But now also this makes up for our lack of impact. I don't really like the T7, even though he's got impact 1. Now we have some actual use against vehicles too. And also it's upgrading the die pool. It's not just about the surge to crit, but it's also about that red die. So now all those regular snowtroopers that would have had just a white die. Look, the flamethrower is fine with all of his black. If I manage to get close enough to take out, a whole unit of death troopers or get a range 1 shot on them, that's great. My flame trooper can, do all of his black dice, but everybody else is only rolling white dice at that point. And this is really the biggest strength here, is that I'm converting all those white dice, skipping right over black and bumping those up to red. So this is a huge upgrade as far as just the dice pool. And surge to crit is a nice bonus there too, but it's really about the die, and that's something that's just huge, and I got to go for that. Now, there's some other combos that I think you can work pretty well with. I think if you're running them with Palpatine, pulling the strings is a pretty nice option for Snowtroopers, because here's the thing. When he does pulling the strings on them, the distinction is that he is giving them a free move action. It's not just a move. It's not a speed X move. It's a move action, which will trigger steady, does allow them to also shoot. So Palpatine's getting double bang for his buck. He's letting his Snowtroopers move and then shoot. And that's a really great thing. So I like that for Palp. Another thing that works well with them is if you want to run them on a Gav tank. This is, they're a slow unit, and the tank can take a whole unit. So maybe deploy them on the tank, drop them off on first turn. Now you've gotten them way farther up on the board. That's a pretty cool option. I think, if you're running a tank, it's one of the better options to load up your tank. So I really like that aspect. And if you're running Vader as your commander, I do like the option of maybe getting an extra move out of them with new ways to motivate them, but only when you really, really need to. This is kind of like almost like a clutch play here. And look, I'm going to take the wound you know, and this might be fine too if you happen to have emergency stims or something like that. I may take the wound, but I'm going to get a free move out of it. And oh, by the way, and now I get to shoot somebody. Now, of course, you are only going to be able to shoot once. So this is probably better if your snowtroopers are way out of range and you're actually going to need 3 moves, because then you can move, 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 free shoot. Or if maybe you're only 2 away and you want to do 1 move and you want to take an aim and then take your free move, aim as first action, and then regular move as second action, and then free attack. Now you've got an aim on there too. Now I will say this, snowtroopers don't usually aim a lot, so I don't put scopes on them a whole lot of times. There are certain builds that could allow that. If you're running them with veers, then maybe you would put scopes on there or something like that, but generally in most of my builds I don't run them with scopes, because I find myself using any extra actions I have as movement and as opposed to aim. And that's my take on Snowtroopers. They're one of my favorite units in the Imperial Army, even though they're a little weaker right now. Their Inferno Squad is going to make them a little bit stronger, and hopefully we'll see more Imperial units coming out soon. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons on Patreon. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this all possible. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And check out the merch in the store as well. We have some new masks, new gator necks down below, so check those out. I want to thank you all so much, and as always, have a great day.